What if the love that changes you forever is one you're never able to name? In the hush of teenagerhood, where obligation, culture, and longing intersect, can a connection kindled by silence and restrained by fear still shape the very heart of who you become? Mosquita y Mari, the 2012 film directed by Aurora Guerrero, is a tapestry of such moments: unspoken affection, multifaceted loyalty, and the bittersweet ache of first love blooming in the shadows of working-class Los Angeles. The story of Yolanda and Mari unfolds on the sun-baked sidewalks and cramped apartments of Huntington Park. Yolanda, called Mosquita by her family for her slight, diligent ways, is the child her immigrant parents have pinned all their hopes on. Their pride in her scholastic success is private and fierce. They imagine a future for her free of their daily struggles. And all they ask in return is her devotion, her obedience, and her achievement. Yolanda's world is circumscribed by structure and pressure. Hours spent hunched over homework, her parents hovering nearby, the soundtrack of her life a blend of quiet encouragement and unspoken expectation. Then Mari arrives, moving into an apartment across the street. Where Yolanda is careful and sheltered, Mari is brusque and independent, a teenager prematurely aged by hardship. Mari's world spins around her mother's chronic exhaustion and her own need to hustle, picking up odd jobs, caring for her younger siblings, and keeping their fragile household together. She exudes a toughness that marks her as different, an armor crafted by necessity, protecting a softness even she rarely glimpses. Their introduction is neither cinematic nor idyllic. In math class, their teacher assigns them as partners. Yolanda is uncertain but tries to reach out, while Mari initially meets every gesture with suspicion or sarcasm. Yet what begins in reluctant collaboration, Yolanda tutoring the less academically inclined Mari out of duty, slowly morphs into mutual curiosity. A turning point comes with Yolanda's offer of a ride home on her bike. Mari, at first cagey, finally accepts, and their laughter as they wobble down the street becomes the first breach of distance between them. Little by little, friendship slides into the shape of something more. After-school study sessions grow longer, stretching into hours sprawled across Mari's bed, knees brushing, secrets traded with low voices and nervous giggles. The world outside, demanding parents, neighborhood machismo, the ever-present specter of poverty, falls away for a while. In these suspended hours, they discover the comfort and excitement of being seen not just for who they are, but for who they might become. The beauty of Mosquita y Mari lies in its subtlety. The narrative is constructed on glances, not declarations, on laughter dissolving into silence, on fingers almost accidentally touching, on pauses filled with yearning and confusion. In one of the film's most poignant scenes, they lie side by side on Mari's bed, the afternoon sun split into rectangles by battered blinds. Their voices tumble from jokes into softness, silences stretching meaningfully. Their hands so close, almost touch, and both sense the unspoken current running between them, a space filled with infinite possibility and risk. For Yolanda, time with Mari becomes an intoxicating counterweight to the pressure of home. She is able to express herself, to imagine a self less walled in by her parents' vision. With Mari, she's allowed an agency and emotional freedom that is intoxicating and new. Mari, too, is changed. She is accustomed to being relied upon, to being the pillar who props her family up. With Yolanda, she can allow herself, for fleeting moments, to need, to dream, even if she's never sure she deserves it, but outside forces intrude. At home, Yolanda's parents watch as their once compliant daughter begins to stray from the fixed path. Her grades slip, her chores go unfinished, and her father's disappointment is compounded by her mother's anxious disappointment. They demand explanations she cannot give. Neighborhood gossip, as always, percolates, There are whispers among mothers at the laundromat, sideways looks at school, the sense that the girls' closeness is different. Even their classmates sense the electricity, responding with teasing and suspicion. Mari's environment is equally turbulent. As her mother's work hours grow erratic and finances dwindle, Mari's role as a surrogate parent intensifies. Her own dreams, academic, romantic, personal, are pushed aside. In this climate of constant fatigue and responsibility, moments with Yolanda become both a lifeline and a distraction. The tension comes to a head when Mari's academic struggles threaten her chances of passing. Desperate, she persuades Yolanda to help her cheat on a test, an act of rebellion and misplaced trust. The episode is a crucible for their friendship. When the cheating is discovered, the repercussions are swift and severe. Yolanda's image as a model student is shattered in the eyes of her teachers, and more painfully, her parents. Her punishment is grounded in heartbreak. She is forbidden from seeing Mari, accused of losing sight of her future for the sake of a distraction they can't understand. Mari, for her part, is consumed by a mixture of guilt, resentment, and shame. In the ensuing fallout, the girls blame each other in a tense, emotionally charged confrontation. Accusations are hurled, defenses raised, and the distance between them feels suddenly insurmountable. In the aftermath, they retreat. Yolanda throws herself back into academia and housework, gulled by private sorrow. She is haunted by the way Mari opened her up, by how quickly all that hope and softness could be rescinded. Mari clings to her role in the family with renewed determination, but her earlier vulnerability has marked her, despite her efforts to hide it. The path back to each other seems impossibly fraught. Every attempt at reconnection falters beneath the weight of pain and pride. The film's quiet climax arrives not in an outcry, but in a brush with confession. Late one night, Mari appears outside Yolanda's window. They sneak into the quiet streets, searching for the privacy their lives so rarely afford them. Beneath the indifferent glow of a street lamp, they share their litanies of guilt and loneliness. Not as romantic partners, not as soulmates, but as two wounded, yearning teenagers unsure of how to love in a world that never taught them how. In the trembling silence, Yolanda leans in, just shy of a kiss. Mari's eyes widen, and for a single heartbeat, both contemplate possibility. But Mari turns away, shoulders tense with fear and longing, and the boundary between them, blurred yet unbroken, snaps gently back into place. From here, the story drifts toward its restless, unresolved conclusion. The girls pass each other at school, their connection reduced to long, silent glances across the courtyard. No apologies, no dramatic reconciliation, just the growing sense that the most meaningful relationships can end not in closure, but in complexity. Life resumes. Yolanda excels academically once more, but the fire started by her friendship with Mari never fully goes out. Mari, likewise, navigates adversity with renewed drive, but for all her grit is now a trace of softness, a memory of laughter and touch never quite realized. What lingers in the final moments is not the story of two girls who overcame every adversity and rode off into a happy future together, but the indelible mark they left on each other's souls. The film's genius is in what it leaves unsaid. Sometimes we are transformed by the possibility of love, by a connection that is truer for having never been fully claimed. The character development throughout is subtle but profound. Yolanda's journey is one of awakening, realizing that she is more than her parents' ideals, and that desire, in all its forms, is a core part of her identity. Through her relationship with Mari, she learns about boundaries, about the necessity and price of forging her own path, but also about the pain inherent in disappointing those who love her most. Mari's development is the quieter of the two, unfolding in flickers of vulnerability and self-acceptance that rarely last long, but change her nonetheless. Allowing herself to be loved, to be needed not for what she provides but for herself, is as monumental a shift as any. The significant scenes of the movie act as anchors for the emotional journey. The first bicycle ride, the start of trust and gentle affection. The afternoons wasted on homework that's never finished, filled instead with exchanges between hope and fear. The nearly touched hands, heavy with everything they can't yet say. The cheating incident, their collision between love, loyalty, and consequence. Their almost kiss, a peak of vulnerability and terrifying possibility. The sapphic love build-up in Mosquita y Mari distinguishes itself by how it refuses to be categorized or explained away. It is not always romantic. Much of it exists in the borderlands between friendship and attraction, between recognized desire and the fear of naming it. The resolution is not the fulfillment of longing, but the acceptance of its importance, of how it can teach and challenge and nurture even in its incompleteness. Life lessons extracted from their journey are gently woven throughout. Some loves, even unfinished ones, change us the most. Desire is powerful, even when it cannot be safely spoken or returned. Being true to oneself sometimes demands risk, silence, or sacrifice, and sometimes it is enough just to acknowledge that longing exists, even if nothing more can come of it. Friendship and first love, especially under cultural or familial constraints, are fraught but fundamental tools of self-discovery. Letting go does not diminish the validity or value of a connection. Rather, it is proof of growth and the often unseen courage it takes to move forward. Small, quiet rebellions, a hand lingering, a bike ride shared, a secret exchanged, can be radical in their context, shaping inner lives in profound ways. As the credits begin to roll on Mosquita y Mari, it is not with triumphant music or tidy answers, but with the reality of two girls molded by each other's presence. In their final silent exchange at school, across the throng of students, there is sadness, but also gratitude. There is loss, but also recognition. They are not the same girls who began that school year. They have been indelibly marked, cracked open, given a glimpse of their truest selves, even if neither can stay in that secret world together. The echo of their bond flickers on, subtle but enduring, guiding each as they move into adulthood, into whatever futures their community or their courage will allow. The film asks, and ultimately answers, its central question: can a love, never confessed, never even named, transform your life? It is the haunting, hopeful conviction of Mosquita y Mari that the answer is a quiet, resounding yes. Yolanda and Mari's connection, so fleeting, so restrained, charts a constellation of first love's transforming power, especially when that love dares the boundaries of family, tradition, and language. Through their story, we learn that courage looks different for everyone. Sometimes it is the act of reaching out, of letting someone in, of risking parental disappointment for a glimpse of happiness. Other times, it comes in recognizing when to put up boundaries or move on. Mosquita y Mari reminds us that every small act of tenderness, every risk taken in the name of love or friendship, helps shape a more authentic self. For those who have lived such stories, for those who still wonder if unspoken, unfinished loves matter, this film is an affirmation. Even the love you never dared to name, rooted in glances, silences, the heat of summer afternoons, can be the fire that lights your way. The world may try to narrow your story to what is safe, permissible, or clear, but hearts grow in the cracks, and truth survives even in silence. So as you reflect on Yolanda and Mari's journey, question the boundaries drawn around you by others, and remember that the fiercest changes are often sparked by the connections we hesitate to name. Mosquita y Mari is a tribute to every closeted longing, every brave, trembling first love. The reminder that to have loved, even quietly and for a moment, is to have lived, and that is enough. If you found this deep dive recap moving or insightful and want to explore more sapphic stories, films, books, shows, and more, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join our channel for the next journey. Your story matters, and so do the stories we tell together.